Susie was feeling down as she had no cell phone for a whole 3 days. That might not be a long time to most people, but to Susie it felt like a whole month. She missed being able to scroll down news feeds and swiping through pics, etc. on social media. She knew it would take her a long time to save up for a new phone, so she decided to go into the local pawn shop to see could she pick up a second-hand one. She settled on a cool new-looking phone and paid her money and walked home. She couldn't wait till she got home to check it out, so she turned her phone on and was surprised a logo popped up on the screen right away. It was a circle with W in it. She just assumed it was some sort of app, so she clicked on it. That night she was sitting down watching TV, enjoying a good thriller movie, when her phone screen lit up. She checked to see what the notification was. She dropped her phone from her hand when she saw what she couldn't understand. It looked like a very pale woman's face came very close to the screen, and there was an awful sound came from her phone. She put the phone down again and continued to watch the movie. Suddenly it lit up again. This time she was hesitant in looking to see what it was, but when she did, the W logo popped up on the screen again. She tried to go into it, but when she did, it said, "We are currently in private beta. Please enter password if you have one." I realized by looking at the top of the screen, it was an app called Whoop. I checked the Google store to see was the app there, but there was no sign of it. I was going to go back to watching the movie, but I decided to Google Whoop app. I was shocked when I read what came up. It said, Whoop is a musical and social media app that was under development. The creator, Sarah Bell, and sole owner, was violently killed on Friday night while going for what seemed like her nightly walk. No suspects are being questioned at the moment, and there is no motive. The homicide is still under investigation. What I saw underneath the article sent shivers up my spine. It was a photo of a woman that looked exactly like the woman that popped up on my screen earlier. I went into her photo gallery and panicked when I saw many photos of the woman who was murdered. I turned off the phone, wondering what was happening and what exactly was that short little video I saw. I knew it was her, but was it actually a video of her being murdered? And why did it pop up in the phone when I didn't even touch it? I jumped in my seat when I saw my phone light up again. I panicked big time this time, knowing I had just turned the phone off. I was reluctant picking up the phone, but when I did, the words, "Be careful," were on the screen. Then as soon as I saw them, they had disappeared. I heard a noise at the door and thought it was my mind playing tricks on me until I heard footsteps. I knew now there was someone in my house with me. I felt a freezing shiver run up my spine, and a lightheadedness with a mixture of fear and panic consume me. Suddenly a figure appeared in my room. I was expecting to see the woman who got killed standing there, but it was a man. The man spoke. "Well now there, don't be frightened. I had to kill that bitch because she stole my unique software for her app. You see, I was her partner before she got greedy and wanted to take full control of the app. You might wonder why I'm here and how I found you. Well, you can thank the wonder of technology and those great Find My Phone apps. I was just on my way to the pawn shop today when I realized someone had bought it. It made things so much more awkward for me, knowing that I will have to kill another person this time, a person I don't even know, to retrieve the phone. You know that if they got this phone, well then they would get me as the killer. You might ask why I didn't take the phone with me that night. Would you believe I took her damn wallet thinking it was her phone? But then again, maybe that made the cops think it was some random robbery. I froze in fear, wondering what he was going to do to me. Suddenly the phone made a sound, as if I got a new message. Then the screen burst into pieces, and a piece of glass stuck in the man's eye. Blood came squirting out. Then a hand came out of the screen and choked him to death. It was a Friday night, and Sarah's parents were going out for a meal. They told her to be careful and to not answer the door to anyone. Sarah's parents were very cautious and even weren't going to go out for a meal at all because for the last few weeks in their town there were home invasions in different houses. Luckily, no one was hurt, but they didn't take any precautions, so they ran through a list of things she should do if anyone knocks at the door or acts strange. After her parents left, Sarah grabbed a drink from the fridge and then sat down to watch a good horror movie. She wasn't worried about any caller to the door, and she knew it was locked and she could call 911 if anything did happen. But her brave attitude changed fast when her phone rang and there was a creepy voice on the other side. At first, Sarah thought it was one of her friends fooling and told them don't be so stupid. The calls persisted during the night. She had rang a lot of her friends in the meantime, but none of them called her, according to them. Jack, Sarah's friend, told her, "Look, if I ever get prank calls, what I do is get a whistle and whistle as hard as I can and as loud as I can down through the phone. It will sure stop them from calling, trust me." Sarah was going to put that plan into action, and she waited till the phone ring again. She made sure that it was none of her friends. So she waited until she heard the creepy voice begin to speak again. So Sarah got her whistle and blew it as hard as she could through her phone. With that, she could hear a scream from behind her sofa, and she turned around to see a person in a ski mask holding a knife. She ran towards the door to open it, but the person grabbed her and lunged a knife into her. She fell on the ground, bleeding very heavy as the person took off their mask. She froze in horror when she looked in a mirror, and she could see herself holding a mask. Then she snapped out of her dream. She had lost time again. She wondered what had happened. Her doctor told her when she has blackouts, she imagines things. Her doctor said she has to take her medication because during her blackouts, she could hurt herself or others. She looked down on the ground at the door. Her parents lay in a pool of blood, and there was a knife in her hand. Sarah began to cry, knowing she had just killed her mom and dad. Sarah was just after sneaking into a kitchen of a stranger's house while a man was sitting down drinking his coffee. She had it all planned for a few days. What time he would be at home, was there any nosy neighbours on the lookout for something strange, etc. She went up behind him with a knife and slit his neck. Instantly he fell to the floor. She was looking forward to later, as she was going to see a play. A few hours later, she was admiring her dress she had chosen to wear to the play. On her way to the theatre, she was smiling, looking forward to her next victim. She didn't need a reason to kill. It could be a person she knew all her life or a complete stranger. Either way, it wouldn't play on her conscience. She would just enjoy the kill and the feeling it gave her. It was like it made her whole again. When she got to the theatre, she took her seat and was looking forward to the play. She heard about it from a friend who saw it a few years ago in a different state. It was a play about a man and a woman running away to get married. Very light and very romantic, just what she needed. When the curtain opened, she saw a table and a man sitting at it. She got comfortable in her seat looking forward to it. Then a woman came onto the stage, sneaking behind the man. First, Sarah didn't take any notice of what was happening, but when the girl took out a knife, she was shocked at what she was seeing. It was like a play of exactly what she did a few hours before. Suddenly the man next to her put handcuffs around her hand and said to her, "Looks familiar. You were under arrest for the murder of someone you neglected to find out had CCTV all over their home. I'm sorry, but it looks like you're going to miss the play." The first thing the woman said was, "It was not me. It must have been my twin sister." Then the cop said, "Well, why do you think we went to all the trouble of doing this scene in the play? I'll tell you why. To get your reaction for proof that it was you." Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content.
Hello, my name is Jake. I used to get upset over my daughter Sarah's last boyfriend, Fred, as he was an ex-convict. So was it hard to blame me? I mean, what father would be delighted with their daughter going out with an ex-convict? He was in for drug dealing, and the thing is, she has moved on, but to be honest, her new boyfriend is worse. The first day I met him, me and my daughter and wife and her new boyfriend Tom were having a meal. Tom just gave me a cold stare, and there was something dark and void in his eyes. My wife and daughter hadn't seen it, but I knew he was hiding something. I don't know what, I don't know how big, but I just knew. I tried telling my daughter, "Sweetie, I know that you think you know Tom, but are you really sure you really know him? I mean, put it this way, he doesn't seem to talk about his family much." My daughter cut me off. "Dad, why do you question everything and everyone I go out with? Tom is a very caring guy, and he has been there for me the last few months, and especially since Fred has become a crazed stalker who just won't get it into his head that I am over him and don't want anything to do with him. Tom has told him to back off, and to be honest, I don't think he would have, only for Tom frightening him or whatever he did to get him to back off. I was really scared my daughter was going to get into trouble with this stranger Tom, so I used it to my advantage what she had just told me about Tom frightening her ex Fred. I said to my daughter, "Well, there you go, sweetie. You don't know what he did to Fred. Did he threaten to kill him, or did he have him beaten up? I mean, let's face it, Fred doesn't seem the type of guy to just back off. You were months trying to get him to stop stalking you." I was hoping to find something to prove I was right about my daughter's new boyfriend Tom, so I did some research and typed his name into the search engine. Millions of results came up, so I tried doing the image search of him, and the town, and the company he is meant to work for. I was hoping he wouldn't appear at all, that he was just giving a false name, and he would be cut out way before anything bad happened to my daughter. But my hopes were dashed when his face popped up. Things came to a head one Friday night, when me and my daughter went to Tom's house. She was delighted I had accepted to go to his house for a meal. My daughter went in and had just realised I'd left my phone in my car, so I went out and fetched it. A few seconds later, I heard a gunshot from inside Tom's house, and my heart started racing. I ran into the house and saw my daughter crying inside there. I told her, "Get back." I had a gun with me at all times for protection, and my daughter knew about it. I told my daughter to stand back, and I kicked the door in and could see my daughter's ex bleeding to death on the ground. Tom was standing there shouting. I shot him in the head and explained to my daughter I had to, as he had his gun held to my head and was going to kill me. My daughter rang the police, and while I was waiting I saw her on the laptop and asked her what she was looking at. She told me, "Don't worry, Tom has CCTV inside the house and outside. I'll be able to show the police that you just shot him in self-defense." Then I noticed I could see my hand go in the window while I was pretending to fetch my phone, but I had went around knowing the window was open. All was ajar. It was a habit Tom had that was a real advantage to me. I was seen holding the gun in the window to the back of him and shooting Fred. My daughter knew now that it was me who shot Fred, and I had planned to burst the door open, pretending to have had to kill Tom before he had killed me. My plan was ruined now. That's why I knew what I had to do before the police came. I knew they would know that it was me that purposely set up Tom to look like the killer that killed Fred, but it was really me. And it was really me who killed Tom because I wanted to, not because it was self-defense. And I knew what I had to do before the police came. So I held the gun up to my daughter and pulled the trigger.